Exclusive pictures from the Rings of Power finale have been released. Wes Stuhal min Freyond and welcome to yet another video. The moment is here, my dear friends. The Rings of Power is coming to an end. Well, the first season, that is, at least. And we will not have to watch another episode for at least a year. Let us hope that it is going to be much longer. Now, welcome, my dear friends. If you are here for the first time, welcome to European Lore, a channel of a teensy tiny humble European fella who likes to rant about fantasy on his YouTube channel, a man who has devoted his entire, well, both personal and academic life to the good stuff, to the finer things, the greats of the fantasy genre of the 20th century and Old English literature. And feel free, my dear friends, to check out my other videos, the reviews of the individual episodes of The Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, reviews of books and films, or videos about the lore and the legendary stories of Professor Tolkien and his academic works as well. Now, we know by now, my dear friends, that we have been right and correct all along, and that The Rings of Power is a complete and utter disaster, a disgrace to the name of J.R.R. Tolkien, simply because of the fact that they had the audacity to put his name on their vicious product. Now, it is something special. It is something completely different from all the adaptations and prequels and sequels and spin-offs and huge mega franchises that we have been dealing with for the last 15 years or so. It's very different from Star Wars, very different from the Alien franchise, or from them destroying Star Trek. You know, them being Hollywood, of course, or all the Marvel and DC Comics comic books, making them into stupid, bland, consumerist movies in the vein of Marvel Cinematic Universe. And do you know why? Because in most of these cases, these, things such as spin-offs and prequel sequels, they are more or less connected and intertwined between each other and connected to the original, either the source material, the book, or the comic books that they are adapting, or the original films that came out. But The Rings of Power is something completely different. It's something completely new, and there I thought, before the show itself was released, that I will be reviewing these episodes and talking about all the lore breaking that would happen in the individual episodes. And please feel free to check out my videos that I released before the show came out. And in most cases, I was right, I was correct. But there was one thing that surprised me, and that's the fact that this has got 0% of Tolkien in it. I thought that they would at least try to adapt certain things that they have the rights for, which is only and exclusively the appendices to The Lord of the Rings. When the show was announced, we thought that they would be adapting the Silmarillion, the Unfinished Tales, and the other books and stories connected with Arda and with Middle-earth. But then, of course, we got to know that they don't really have any rights for the Silmarillion or the Unfinished Tales, and that they have only acquired the rights to adapt The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. But then, of course, we got to know that they were not going to dabble into the story of The Hobbit or The Lord of the Rings in the Third Age, and that they are only going to focus on the Second Age. And since they only have the rights to use The Lord of the Rings and its appendices, they will only be able to work with the chapter worth of notes and sketches and family trees that Tolkien added to the end of The Lord of the Rings. And of course, the result was inevitable. The result was atrocity. The result is abomination. The result is desecration. The result is crime against art and literature in general. And even those characters that come from the books, and we are here only talking about the names, they are unrecognizable. You have never read about them. They are doing things they have never done in the books. They are speaking things they have never spoken in the books. They are behaving the way they have never behaved in the books. Those characters are not the characters that were invented by Professor Tolkien. Galadriel by Amazon is not Galadriel from The Lord of the Rings or from the Silmarillion. She is the most annoying fictional character I have encountered on television or in a film, in literature, well, since I don't even know when, maybe forever. I cannot remember a more annoying, despicable character than Galadriel. And yes, I am counting in Joffrey from Game of Thrones, Ramsay from Game of Thrones, Ratchet, not the Transformer, but Nurse Ratchet from One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I'm counting all these characters. I can stomach these characters. I will not stomach the abomination that Amazon made of Galadriel. And of course, besides that, there are many characters that are Amazon's original characters. But, for more detail, feel free to go back and check out my other videos. But what is the most important thing here is that the showrunners and the screenwriters and the actors and yada yada, everybody, they still have the audacity to be lying to you and lying to all of us and saying we want to honor the works of Professor Tolkien. When shooting, we were always going back to the books, back to the books, back to the books. And then, of course, when you see that it isn't true, that it is all a lie, and when you see that the show is bad and poorly made, even if you look past the absence of any law that would be Tolkien's, the show is poorly made. It is bad, quite objectively bad. The writing is full of plot holes. The dialogues are more than cringy. Once again, I'm saying that the writing resembles that writing of my first fantasy stories when I wrote when I was 8 years old. So imagine that. It was developed by two men, Patrick McKay and J.D. Payne, who, as they admitted themselves, had never before worked on a successfully accepted script. They are, of course, connected with J.J. Abrams and The Bad Robot and have some connection to the new Star Trek films, but they had never written a script that would be successfully accepted by a film studio and made into a movie until they were connected with the Rings of Power. So the result, once again, is inevitable. Plus, if you count in all the quota they have in Hollywood and the fact they have to bow to the gods of inclusion, representation, and diversity, well, the result is, of course, something that nobody wants to really see. And there's people who are saying that it is great and awesome. I have expressed my opinions about these people in the past. Once again, feel free to check out my other videos. And then, of course, because we are not satisfied and we criticize the product, we are labeled and called names, ists and phobes and trolls and even evil by the showrunners. Fans who care about their beloved stories that they have grew up with, in many cases, or they have been enjoying their entire lives and reread multiple times in their lives, and we care about those stories. We don't want the stories to be crapped on, and that is why we are defending it. That is why we are criticizing the poorly made Amazon's abomination. There come either the showrunners or the screenwriters or the executives of the film studios or the actors, all of them activists, by the way, and very, very bad actors, and hating us all over social media. And then, of course, you've got all the articles written by so-called academics and scholars, and believe me, I come from an academic background. What's today's academia is really a pile filled with slithering maggots and extreme activists, fourth wave feminists, and all the beautiful and cute, extraordinary people like that. But what stays a fact and the truth is that we were right, we were correct all along. So no matter what they call us, no matter who agrees with us or disagrees with us, we can be feeling quite good. Because after all, we can now, in peace, go back to the books, as the showrunners have been saying. Enjoy the great works of fantasy. Delve into some quality escapism. And converse with fellow fans about the beautiful things. And not having our beautiful favorite stories spoiled by vile corporations or their shills. And this is the message of the video. Go back to the books, my dear friends. Forget about the Rings of Power when it ends, when the first season comes to an end. Let it go. Focus on different things. Fight then, of course. Continue fighting for the culture that we love and that we have built. Don't let them spoil it. Alright, that will be all, my friends. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm out of here.